Okay, let's continue with our blueberry. One of the things, again, you can move your points around. Try not to put them too close to the edge. You'll get this really harsh contrast, unless that's what you're looking for. In a banana, sometimes that's what I'm looking for. In this case, I'm going to add a little bit more darker around the edge, even at the top up here, to give it more volume. So really dark edges with light middle actually gives a lot of volume. In fact, I'm going to even get a really dark. Oh, that's too dark. Maybe not black. Is that black? Yeah, maybe a little gray. I just slapped the gray along the edge there, just to give it some. Let's make this one really dark. Okay, and then you can move the directional arms to kind of give you more of the way that you want your. I want it to be kind of a smooth gradient. And these are directional arms along the edge. And so the book doesn't have anything good about the gradient mesh. In fact, I don't have anything about the gradient mesh. You're just going to have to watch this video and practice what I'm doing. Again, there's directional arms along the edge. And I have a handout that you can look at. I'm going to make a really dark one down there somehow. Ooh, that's too dark. That's kind of nice. I'm going to make a darker blue here. So let's double click on the swatch and make a really dark blue. And I can take it and drag it into my color window here. So I have a dark blue. Let's make a dark blue along the edge there. There we go. Even along this edge. There we go. It's too dark. How about like that? Okay. So if you click off the mesh, you can see your fruit there. And so that's a good start to a blueberry, as you can tell. It looks kind of nice. Then you'll notice we have this shape up here where the I guess where the ends of the flower or fruit would be here. In fact, what I might do is just steal one of those shapes like you see right here from one object and put it on here. So you don't have to do everything again with one object. I just have a base object here with color to add more to my piece of fruit that I have here. I might just steal this shape that I have right here to do that. Oh, maybe this one over here. No. Which one do we want to steal? This one might be better. So I'm going to use the pen tool. I'm going to zoom in a little bit by using the Control+. I'm going to go over here with the pen tool and just kind of draw a shape right over top of this shape that I have here, just by drawing a shape. Right over top of there, following the lines that are in this shape that is here. It doesn't have to be perfect. And so just drawing a shape like that. So I just drew a shape right over top of where this is. You can see that shape. That's the shape. Using the pen tool. Always go back to the very first point when you're using the pen tool. Next, after I drew my shape, of course I can color it. Let's give it a dark color. And then you might even make a little mesh inside there to give it some highlight to it. Using the gradient mesh, I might just click in the middle there and make it a little brighter. Click along the line here to add another point. Maybe make that a little brighter. Oof, not like that. That looks like a kind of a dark spot. And then we can drag it right on top of our fruit. And it probably should be a little darker. It needs some darkness to it. Maybe it has a stroke. Let's give it a black stroke around the outside somehow. Is there a stroke? I can't stroke it, can I? No, because it's the gradient mesh. Okay, that's fine. Let's make it around the edges a little bit darker. So let me zoom in. I'm going to use some black along the outside by using the white selection tool. Remember that? Click off and then click outside, and then let's click along the points along the edge here and give it a black. Black. Oh, it's pretty dark already. Is that it? Black. It doesn't seem to be changing. Why should it not give me a black? I don't know. Let's try. Black. No, it's not changing. Oh, I got the wrong one highlighted. You're gonna have the top fill highlighted here. Let's give some black. Let's try again. Black. There we go. Because it's kind of a black flower looking thing that goes around the outside, isn't it? So let's just give it some really good contrast here. Oops, I didn't want to do that. Let's keep that dark blue. Okay, so we have a basic seed that's over top. I guess it's not seed, it's kind of a part of the fruit. And then if you want to blend it a little bit better with the background, maybe even add a shadow to it or something like that. We can do things like that by duplicating the object. So you have two of them, and then kind of offset them a little bit over top of each other, and then the one that's behind it, let's give it a really black color to it. There we go. So I just duplicated it. That gives it kind of a, let's move it a little closer. So good, there we go. That makes it look a little three-dimensional. One way to do it is to duplicate an object and then make it solid black behind it. How did I do that? I'll do it again. In this case, I'm going to take the shape that I've made, and I'm going to duplicate it by holding down the Alt key and clicking and dragging. When I click and drag the Alt key, it makes two of them, two of the same objects. Then I'm going to take the one that's behind it by clicking on the one that's behind it and making it solid black. By making it solid black, then I can adjust it a little bit so it's just slightly off center of the other one, and it gives it more of a three-dimensional look. So that's one way of going about it. And then and it doesn't look great. It doesn't. I wish this should be a little bit darker inside there. It really should be dark and not light in there. Let's just make it dark. There we go. Maybe even make it black. There we go. Give it some black parts. That's really what I need. There we go. That looks more better. That's a word, more better. In this case, then to add maybe the little water droplets, I don't know, you can simply just draw a little circle over top of it, and maybe give it a bright color to it, and then do what I just did with the offsetting. So to add a little water droplet, maybe just make a circle using the ellipse tool, make it kind of bright, and then I'm going to use the black arrow to duplicate it. Again, to duplicate is Alt click and drag. Make one that's offset a little bit. Let's zoom in even closer so we can see. See how the one has the black around the outside there? I'm going to click along the edge here and make that one dark too. There we go. So just putting a bright one next to a dark one really adds some contrast. Oops, let's move this a little bit closer like that. Okay, and so that gives it kind of like the highlight seed, or not seed, water droplet. Again, you can see water droplets there. You can add gradient mesh to make the water droplets just perfect if you want. What you want to do though is avoid as much gradient mesh as possible. It adds a lot to the file size. It makes it, again, duplicating this and then changing the color of the one in the back to give it kind of a water drop looking effect. And so we can have a simple blueberry very quickly by using the gradient mesh tool. I should have made this a little bit darker, and let's make it a little bit darker. I don't know why the black doesn't give me what I want. Let's use the gradient mesh tool, and let's click on this one and make that black too. Oof, there we go. I don't know, maybe add one more. There we go. Let's see what that looks like. That probably looks better already. Okay, so a nice sort of part. So it's a good blueberry. Practice the gradient mesh, and I don't know. Let's try an apple next.